You've stood in front of the same decision for weeks, maybe months, not because you don't know what you want, but because some part of you is terrified that choosing wrong won't just cost you time, it'll cost you you. You call it indecisiveness, but that's not what this is. Think about the last, small, decision that quietly wrecked your sleep. Should you take the job in the new city? Should you stay with them, or finally admit it's over? Should you go back to school, or walk away from the thing you spent years building? On paper, these look like logistics. In your head, they feel like verdicts. You run the scenarios at 2 a.m. Not, what will happen, but, who will I become? Will the version of me who says yes still recognize the version of me who said no? This is why you research endlessly and still don't move. Why you ask 10 people for advice and trust none of it. Why you write pros and cons lists that never actually decide anything. It's not a logic problem. It's an identity problem wearing a logic costume. And it doesn't stay contained. It leaks into how you talk to yourself. I can never commit to anything. Something's wrong with me. It leaks into relationships, where your hesitation gets mistaken for disinterest. It leaks into how you see your own future, like it's a hallway of doors you're too afraid to touch. There's a name for what's happening underneath all of this. And it's not a flaw in your character. You are not broken. You are not weak-willed, or lazy, or just not a decisive person. What's happening is that your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. Protect a coherent sense of self. Somewhere along the way, you learned, consciously or not, that identity is fragile. That people who reinvent themselves too often are seen as unstable, unreliable, lost. So your mind built a defense system. Before you commit to anything big, it forces you to ask, is this really me, or is this a betrayal of who I've been? That question used to protect you. Maybe it stopped you from chasing something reckless. Maybe it kept you loyal to people and paths that mattered. The problem isn't that this system exists. The problem is it can't tell the difference anymore between a decision that threatens your identity and one that simply changes it. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you freeze. Psychologists call your sense of self a self-schema, a mental model of who you are, built from your past choices, roles, and stories about yourself. Your brain treats this self-schema the same way it treats physical safety. It doesn't like threats to it. So when a decision feels like it could rewrite a core part of that model, your career identity, your relationship identity, your sense of where you belong, your brain doesn't process it as choosing. It processes it as danger. This is why big decisions can trigger the same nervous system response as physical fear. Racing thoughts, tight chest, the urge to just not choose. Here's a simple mental model to hold on to. Imagine your identity as a house you've been building your whole life. Every decision is a brick. Most bricks, you place without thinking. But some decisions feel like they're not adding a brick. They feel like they're asking you to knock down a wall. Your brain doesn't want to knock down walls, even if that wall is blocking a room you've outgrown. So it stalls. Not because it lacks information, because it's guarding the architecture of you. The question underneath every stuck decision isn't, what's the right choice? It's, can I survive being someone slightly different than who I am right now? And the honest answer, which we'll get to, might surprise you. Step 1. Separate the decision from the identity claim. What to do? Before deciding, write down what you think this choice says about you, not what it does, what it says. If I take this job, it means I'm the kind of person who gives up on my old dream. Why it works. Naming the hidden identity claim moves it from your amygdala's threat detection into your prefrontal cortex, where you can actually examine whether it's true. Real-life example, someone deciding whether to leave a stable job for freelance work realizes the real fear isn't income, it's, I'll become someone who quits things. Once named, they can test if that story is even accurate. Step 2. Ask if this is reversible or truly final. What to do? Sort the decision into experiment or permanent. Most feel permanent. Few actually are. Why it works. Your brain's threat response calms significantly when it perceives an exit route. This is basic risk appraisal psychology. Perceived reversibility lowers stress activation. Real-life example, moving to a new city feels like erasing your old life. But most moves are reversible within a year. Naming that reduces the panic by half before you've even decided. Step 3. Talk to your past selves, not just your future self. What to do? Ask, would the version of me from 5 years ago be surprised by this decision, or would they understand it? Why it works. This engages what psychologists call narrative identity, the ongoing story you tell about your life. Choices that connect to your story feel safe. Choices that seem to erase it feel threatening, even when they're growth. Real-life example, someone considering ending a long relationship realizes their past self would understand exactly why. the story isn't being erased, it's continuing. Step 4. Let the decision be updatable, not final. What to do? Reframe the choice as, this is who I am choosing to be for now, not forever. Why it works? This reduces what's called cognitive commitment load, the psychological weight of believing a decision is permanently binding, which is what triggers avoidance and procrastination in the first place. Real-life example. Choosing a career path at 27 doesn't mean you're locked in until 65. Treating it as a current chapter, not a life sentence, makes the choice lighter to hold. Step 5. Act before you feel ready. What to do? Take the smallest possible action toward the decision, before your identity has fully caught up. Why it works? Behavior often precedes belief. Acting first lets your self-schema update gradually, instead of demanding a full identity shift before you're allowed to move. Real-life example. Sending one application, having one honest conversation, small actions let your sense of self adjust in real time, instead of all at once. Here's the one thing to remember. You are not choosing between two futures. You are choosing whether you'll let yourself keep building the house, one brick at a time, instead of demanding to see the whole blueprint before you move. Every version of you that ever existed came from a decision that once felt too big to make. The you who is scared right now is not separate from the you who chose before. They're the same architect, just standing in front of a newer wall. You were never afraid of choosing wrong. You were afraid of losing the thread between who you were and who you're becoming. But that thread doesn't snap that easily. It stretches. It bends. It follows you into every version of yourself you haven't met yet. So the next time you're standing at the edge of a decision, frozen, remember, you're not required to become someone else. You're only asked to take the next honest step, as the person you already are. That if this video made you think differently, like THR video, subscribe to Think Unordian, share your perspective in the comments, and join a growing community exploring psychology, philosophy, and self-mastery. That's all for today. Until next time, keep thinking beyond the ordinary. If this video made you think differently, like THR video, subscribe to Think Unordian, share your perspective in the comments, and join a growing community exploring psychology, philosophy, and self-mastery. That's all for today. Until next time, keep thinking beyond the ordinary.